Cool, so we're going to start in a reclined Supta Baddha Konasana legs, but we're going to have 2 blocks for this. So one of your blocks is going to go across your back, so we're opening our chest, and our other block is going to go quite high, just on our head, just to lift our head up. So if you are using a book, I just advise, if you want to, putting a bit of padding just over the book if it bothers you. So you're just going to come to recline down on that block. So to be across this, the very middle of your back. And in this other block, or your book, is going to be on kind of the highest setting you can put it. And you're just going to find a comfortable space to set your head on it. Just playing about with the levels. You kind of want the block that's like on your back to be at a slightly lower level than the block that's on your head. We're going to bring the soles of our feet together, the knees are going to drop out either side, and we're just going to bring our hands just alongside our body, spinning our palms up towards the sky, and really letting our shoulder blades melt down our back. And just taking a couple of breaths, just to settle yourself into the class. Just allowing your inhale to fill up all that space that you're creating in your lungs in this pose. Then as you exhale, just feel your props support you. The focus of a yin class is not to increase any kind of intensity or get the heart rate going or move with any kind of real purpose. It's to allow our body to find deep openings and stretchings. Allow us to really sink in, to delve deep into those layers of tissue and fascia in the body. Allow them to slowly peel open. In order for us to get there, we must ensure that any poses that we come into, we can feel them and we commit to them. Ensuring we can feel that openness and expansion in our body and holding it. And in order for us to hold these poses for these periods of time, we really need to tap into our breath. So sending our breath wherever we're feeling the opening or the stretch, allowing the breath to guide us through it. We're just going to do a quick breathing technique. Just allow us to utilize the breath to its full potential. So we're just going to inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just continuing that long inhale and long exhale, equaling them out. With every exhale, getting rid of all the stale air in your lungs. With every inhale, breathing in fresh, clean air to nourish your body. Taking one more round of inhale and exhale, and maybe on this exhale making it a long sigh out of the mouth. And then slowly just removing the block from underneath your head and just placing it over to the side. So we've still got that block across the middle of our back. And then using your hands to close your knees together, just really slowly embracing that feeling of coming out of the poses. And then just pushing your feet into the ground to lift your hips and slide that block or that book out from underneath your back. And then just bringing your hips back down to the earth, just bringing one hand to your tummy, one hand to your heart. Just feeling that breath through your body as we've already started to expand through the lungs. And then just slowly in your own time, just making your way to a comfortable seated position. So you have been lying for a little bit, so you don't want to rush anything. Just making your way to a nice seat and then just rolling over your ankles, just coming onto all fours. And if you do have any wrist issues here, if you want to even just roll your mat back a couple of times so your wrists are slightly elevated above your fingers. We're just going to come into a stationary cat-cows here. So we're going to drop our belly down, open up our chest, think about our shoulders coming away from one another, even pivot your hands slightly to 10 and 2. Letting our tummy just drop down towards the earth. And holding on to nothing here, no muscular tension. Keeping our shoulders away from our ears. And not throwing our chin too high, just keeping it nice and neutral. And keeping our tailbone shining up towards the sky. Thinking about sending our outer hips away from one another. Creating space in the low back. Taking one more inhale here, and then on exhale, just round the spine, tucking the tailbone under, coming into our cat pose. So if someone's poking your belly button up towards your spine, letting your head hang really heavy here, chin in towards the chest. Just letting your breath run up and down your back. Taking one more inhale. And exhale, just sinking yourself back onto your heels, reaching your hands out in front, just coming into a child's pose. Just to neutralize the spine. And slowly walking your hands back towards your legs and just finding a comfortable seated position here. So if you want to sit back on your heels, you can. You can maybe put a block underneath your bum just to lift your hips up a little bit higher, just coming to cross-legged, just whatever you prefer. On an inhale, we're going to reach our right hand up overhead, bend the elbow, placing that right hand in between our shoulder blades, making sure when we're bending, we're not flaying the ribs out, so keeping that front body engaged. And if you want to come into the bind, you're going to lift your left hand out the side, your thumb is going to face towards the ground. You're then going to bend the elbow, bringing that hand at your low back and seeing if you can catch onto fingers. And if you can't catch the fingers, even just grabbing on to your top is absolutely fine. Just grabbing on with the right and left hand. head up so that our back of our head is resting on our right arm. So feeling a nice stretch into our right hamstring and into our, not hamstring, our right tricep and our left shoulder. While keeping the sides of our waist nice and long. Keeping that breath with you that you cultivated at the beginning of practice. And then if you have the bind, just slowly releasing your left hand, releasing it out the exact same way you came into it. So bringing it out to the left hand side with your thumb facing down. And then you're going to flip so your palm is facing up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to place our left hand on our right elbow. Then lifting the right side up nice and high, grounding down with the right hip. On an exhale, we're just going to lean over to the left hand side. So starting to stretch into the side body here. Sending the hips away from the shoulders, pulling your low tummy up. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then inhaling through the center. And then just releasing slowly your right arm down. And just doing a couple of circles backwards with your shoulders just to really release that. Now bringing your left hand out to the side, thumbs facing up, bending the elbow, placing the palm of your left hand in between your shoulder blades. If it comes even just to the base of your neck, that's absolutely fine. Just finding this position. And then if you wish to come into the bind, lifting your right hand out to the side, thumb is facing down, bending the elbow, and then bringing the back of the hand round to your back. And just noticing there might be a difference. I can bind on the other side, but I can't bind with this side. So just honouring that difference, knowing that your body isn't completely symmetrical. And if you're coming into the bind, just grabbing onto fingertips or just holding on to your clothing. Just keeping a slight lift to the side body as you ground your sit bones down to the earth. Keeping your right shoulder melting down your back. Taking 2 more breaths here, maybe lifting that left elbow slightly higher. And then just releasing your right hand, again coming in out of it exactly the same way. Lifting your right hand up, thumbs facing down, and then turning your palm up towards the ceiling as we place our right hand on top of our left elbow. The movement's coming from our left sit bone as we ground that down. We reach out of our left side body, and then on exhale we lean slightly over to the right. You're going to just take your body to the point in which you feel the stretch, and then committing to that stretch and just holding it there. Knowing that any discomfort or intensity that you're feeling is not a bad thing, but if you do feel pain, to come out of it. The intensity and discomfort just comes from us not practicing these shapes. Taking 2 more big breaths here, so really filling up your left lung to expand that rib cage out to the left. And then on inhale, slowly coming through to center, just releasing your arms down and then just taking some nice shoulder rolls backwards and forwards. Okay, we're going to get our block. If you do have your book, I would just recommend that you wrap it up in like a blanket or a tea towel. We're going to come into a subscapular release. So we're going to be basically lying on our yoga block, and it's going to be positioned just kind of where our lats are, just kind of in your underarm. So you're going to come to lie on your left hand side, so just like a nice reclined position. Hips are going to be stacked. And just coming onto your elbow just for now, and then sliding your block the medium height underneath your armpit, and we're going to come to lie on the block. So there's a nice bit here where your lats are. So you want to kind of lie on that line. Just keeping your hand on the ground here, or if it does feel comfortable enough, you can reach that hand out and just bring your head down to rest. So making sure we're not rolling forward here, so we don't kind of want to come on to any kind of onto your boobs basically. We want to keep it on our lats. And you can have your head relaxed, or you can even just use your left hand just to prop your head up. So what we're doing here is we're tapping into a pressure point within our body. So we can really start to ease off in that muscle. So this will feel almost like if you've ever had like a sports massage, and they're working at a knot or a bit in your body that is, it feels bad, it feels painful, but it feels good at the same time. It doesn't feel painful, it feels discomfort. So you might even feel while we're applying pressure here in our body, you might even feel it somewhere else. And what we're also tapping into here is a meridian, which is a line of energy, a line of chi that runs through the body. It is recognized in Chinese medicine. So we're lying on our lung and our heart meridian here. So it ties in nicely with our heart openers that we're engaging in this yin practice. So if you want to even rock back and forward a little bit here, just to really get that subscapular release, you can. It's almost like self-massage. Making sure you're not coming too far forward or too far back. Just literally tiny, tiny movements. And if this is quite intense and you are finding you're maybe tensing up through your face here, just making sure that you're breathing into that space and we're finding relaxation in other areas of the body. Just going to take one more breath here. And then exhale, just slowly pushing into the ground to bring yourself up. And then just rolling on to the other side. I'm just going to flip around so you can still see me. So just coming to a nice relaxed position, hips are stacked, and then placing the block basically just underneath your armpit. So this kind of edge of the block, and the left hand edge of the block is what's going to be really resting on your lats. And then just slowly shimmering yourself down, finding your nice point. You'll feel it when you reach it. And then just even using your hand to rest your head, or you can keep your head lifted. Your legs legs don't need to be in any particular position here because we're focusing on our lats. Getting a really nice pressure point massage here. And by working into this part of the body where we find that we can hold a lot of tension, we think about shoulders coming up near the ears, so by working into this, giving ourselves this little self-massage, it allows us to then find that release in other areas. It's relieving tension to allow us to open that heart space even more. If you want to just do little tiny movements back and forth, you can. Taking one more breath here. And then exhaling, just slowly bringing yourself up. We're just going to come to a comfortable seated position, and we're just going to place our hands on our knees, and we're just going to do a nice little gentle cat-cow while we're seated. So inhale, just scooping the chest forward slightly, and then exhaling to round the spine. And when you're in this angry cat position, you might feel that nice release along your lats that you just created. Inhale to scoop it forward, make your shoulder blades go down your back, and then exhale to round it out. And then just rolling over your ankles, just coming to lie on your mat, placing your hands underneath your shoulder blades. You can get yourself nice and centered here, and then just bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders and just grabbing onto elbows with your hands, just to make sure we've got the distance right. Hands are going to be placed down in front. We're going to roll those shoulders back. We're just going to come into a Sphinx pose here. So ideally in this pose, you want to be releasing your glutes and your legs so they become really heavy. But if you have any tension or anything going on in the small of your back, you can have a slight engagement in your glutes and those legs. We're not going to be holding this pose too long, as we are going to be coming into a variation. So just knowing that you're only going to be holding this for maybe about a minute or so. So just grounding your arms into the mat, letting those shoulders roll back. So if someone was behind you, grabbing your shoulders and pulling them. And then we're just going to bend our right leg so that our heel is coming in towards our bum. And then just reaching our right hand back, just going to grab onto our right foot. And you want to try and bring your right foot as close to your glute as you can. So you might need to walk it up your arm slightly, getting a nice stretch along the front of the quads. Just taking it within your own limit. So again, you want to find, you want to kind of always kiss the edge of your limit here. And then commit and then hold it. Taking deep breaths right into the front of your legs. We're also getting a stretch in your right shoulder. Making sure you're grounding that right knee down to the earth. And just taking your gaze wherever's comfortable, maybe closing down your eyes. Taking 2 more breaths here, so sending that breath right into your quads, into your shoulder. And then on exhale, really slowly releasing that. We don't want to fling that foot back, just slowly releasing it back down. And then just bringing our hands one on top of another. We're just going to bring our head down to our hands, just to ease off in the low back a little bit. And then just pushing into the ground, bringing ourselves back up into that Sphinx pose as our starter pose. And then bringing our left heel this time in towards our bum. And make sure we're bringing it straight in. We're not bringing it in from either side. So keeping everything nice and square. Then pushing our right hand into the earth, reaching back to grab that left foot. And if you don't quite reach the left foot, just that action of reaching back and hugging that left heel in towards your bum. Feeling a nice opening in our left shoulder, stretch along our quads. And once you feel that stretch, seeing if you can maybe take it a little bit further, you need to release a little bit in order to commit to it. You don't need to worry too much about the right shoulder here, so if you feel like you're slumping into it, that's fine. Feeling those layers of fascia slowly starting to open up in your quads. Letting those muscles start to lengthen out. Keep sending your breath to wherever you're feeling it. Allowing your body to fully relax. You're letting go of any tension you have in your face just for these last couple of breaths. And then just slowly releasing that left leg down. Bringing your left hand onto the mat, right hand on top, and just bringing your forehead down to meet it. And then just letting your hips drop out to either side, just letting your low back just ease off. And then just pushing yourself up in your own time, up to all fours. You're just going to grab your block of your book. We're going to come into a variation of child's pose here. So we'll start by getting our child's pose legs ready. So in child's pose, we want to find an opening in the chest, but there also is a nice opening in the legs. So the wider you bring your legs, the bigger the stretch will be. And we're going to bring our arms onto the block, but we're going to kind of stack them one on top of the other. So bring your left hand onto the block. So your hand is going to be, your left arm, forearm. So your hand's going to be kind of hanging off the edge, and then you might need to shuggle it in a little bit. And then bring your right hand just to come in front of it. So you might just need to manipulate the space a little bit to find it. So your head is going to hang in between. So your forehead, the top of your head will be touching your block. And just let your hands hang off the edge of it. While we send our hips back towards our heels. And we will be swapping up the position of our arms. So if you feel like one shoulder's a little bit different than the other one, that's fine. We will be swapping it up. And if you come into this and you feel like your arms are a little bit too close to your body, you need to move them away, just shift your block further away.
We don't want to come into postures and think they're not doing anything for us. If you come into them and they need a little bit of adjustment, that's fine. Just feeling our breath as it runs up and down our spine. Lengthening from the tailbone to the crown of the head. With every inhale, feeling our lungs just inching closer towards our mat. And then with every exhale, just sending those hips further down towards your heels. Just going to take 2 more breaths just here before we swap up our arms. And just slowly lifting your gaze and then just bringing it so your right arm is closer to you now. Right hand's going to hang off the edge, left arm's going to go in front. And then just placing your head back down. So again, might feel more opening now in the left shoulder. Right shoulder's going to be a little bit higher. You can exhale out the mouth with a sigh at any point. We still want the body to have deep relaxation in this practice. Sending that chest down, hips towards your feet. You keep your long breath with you. Just taking 2 more long inhales and exhales here in this pose. And on inhale, just lifting your gaze. You're just going to bring your hands flat out in front. Just push the block slightly out of the way. We're just coming to rest your forehead down, just coming into a normal child's pose. Then slowly bringing yourselves back up, walking your hands back up. And we're going to come into reclined hero. So you're going to take both blocks or your book if you've got it. One of them is going to come kind of this way, whatever you call it, lengthwise, onto the mat, and the other one's going to come the longer way behind it. So if you're looking at it where I'm sitting, it kind of looks like an upside down T. So if you have 2 that are maybe slightly, one's higher than the other one, I've done this wrong. Bring the one that's slightly higher further away from you, okay? And then you're going to place your pillow or rectangular cushion just over the top of them. Now this pose will take a little bit of moving into, so you're just going to sit down and your legs are going to come either side of you, and you're going to place so that your bum is coming just before that first block or book. Your feet are going to be splayed slightly out to the side here. If you have any knee issues, you can just sit on your heels. If not, just have your heels slightly out to the side. And we're just going to come down to recline. Now if you come down and where your pillow is too far, you can just stay on your hands here, keeping the shoulders rolled back. If you want to come further though, I just invite you to come and recline on your pillow. So it can feel like a lot to get into, but then once you get into it, you can nice and relax. And you want that block to be underneath your head, so if you need to move it about a bit, you can. So we're getting a really big opening now, all into the front of our quads. And that's extending into our hips, and then all along our front body. And something that's quite nice to do in this pose is just place your hands on the soles of your feet. We use our feet every day, and we very rarely give them any attention. It's just putting your hands on the soles of your feet. It's also quite nice to find a connection in that it creates almost like a circuit within your body. So if you do bring your hands to the soles of your feet, I want you to think about your breath traveling around that circuit. So on an inhale, inhaling through the soles of your feet, and it's going to run all along the front of your body until it reaches your hands. And then on your exhales, it's going to run up your arms, all along the front of your body, and then out through the soles of your feet. Imagining your breath running around that circuit. And then exhale, it comes up your arms, over the front of your body, across your quads, down your shins, and like the sole of your foot. And really allowing that breath to help find that softness and that release in this pose. Knowing that any intensity that is coming up for you, your breath is there to take it away. If there's any pain, honour your body and come out of the pose and go into an easier variation. So whether that be not letting your feet fly out to the side, or taking it not as deep. Might start to feel the opening now, stretching further along your quads, maybe to the inside edges of your knees. Just making sure that opening is honouring and serving you, it's not causing you any painful discomfort. Just taking one long inhale through the feet and up through the front of the body till it gets to the hands. And then exhale out a sigh as you imagine it running back along your body and out the soles of your feet. Then letting go of your feet, just placing your hands onto the mat. And you're really going to slowly, almost one hand at a time, walk your hands back up towards your shoulders and then pushing in. And just come up halfway to start with. And then slowly bringing your chest forward, rolling over your knees, just coming in to a quick cat-cow position here.
dropping the tummy down, and then pushing the ground away. And you might feel a funny feeling as you start to let the energy run back into your feet. And then we're just going to move, just place your pillow just at the top of your mat. You can move both blocks out of the way. And then just coming to lie on your mat, and you can use your pillow just as you would in bed, just bringing it underneath your head, just bringing our knees into our chest. So we find loads of expansion to the front body, so just curling your front body in together. Maybe rocking from side to side. Just letting the front body really relax as the back body starts to waken up a little bit. It works for you. Taking one more inhale here, and then on your exhale, just like uncurling out, unfolding a piece of paper, just slowly setting the soles of your feet on the ground, bringing your feet out to either side, letting your feet drop out, and opening your hands up towards the sky. Maybe pushing into the back of your head slightly so you can roll those shoulder blades down your back. Taking any last minute fidgets. Just taking a nice long exhale, letting the air in your lungs just flow out your mouth. And then coming to just find a couple of moments stillness in your Shavasana and allowing your body to fully melt into the mat. Allowing all that expansion and that opening to just release. Attaching no pressure to yourself. And just finding some stillness.